So now our walking is perfect, right? So let's just do the jump. Right now the jump is not okay. We don't have animation for the jump, right? So for the jump, let's just go to again animation blueprint in here, and always what we do, we go to event graph. We should check if we are jumping or not, right? So one way to do it with these, with getting our character, we can, for example, get word location of our character. So for example, right, and it automatically changed that character class to root component, and the root component is the root component in here, right? So in here, let's just print it to see what we can find out. Print a string, and again it will, because it is a vector, it will change it to a string, and we want to show that a string, so it needs execution pin. So let's just put it here and connect these to here. Now with that, let's just compile and run. You can see the z value in here. If we hit the space, you can see the z value is changing, right? The z value is changing from 122, right? So another way to make sure that it is correct, let's just disable this and right click in here and split it so we can just get the z value, right? So let's just connect it here. It will automatically again convert it to a string. And now if we compile, it will just show the z value right in here. At the default, when it is on the ground, it will be 122 with some float value after that, right? If we hit the space to jump, you can see the value will change. We can use that, but there is a better way. Let's just delete these two, okay? Delete these two as well. Now, the better way. If we drag from our character in here and search for is falling, okay? So this is falling is a node that is come with this character class. That's why I'm saying that this character class that Unreal Engine developer create for us, it will help us a lot. So they create this, so whenever we are not at the ground, this is falling will be true. So if we are jumping, we are falling, right? If we are not on the ground, this is falling node will give us true in here. So let's just grab this and say print a screen. Print it for us so we can find out what it will give us, right? So let's just connect it here. You can see it connected to print to a string, print to a screen, but I want to connect it to the a string because I want it to show the value, so I don't need this. So hold Alt and disable this, okay? We don't want to connect it to that. So let's just print the output of this is falling to see when it's falling and when it's not falling. And right now, because we are on the ground, it's saying that it is false. But if we hit a space, you can see it says true. So we don't need to get the world location of our character because character class help us to find out when we are jumping, right? So now with that, we can just delete this, and we can store this boolean value that is between false and true inside the variable, like we did it for the speed, right? So again, in variable, let's just create another variable in here, and I want to call it is it on air, okay? Is it on air? And the type is float because we want to use it in this on output of this node, right? So again, let's just drag and drop it and set in here, set this variable. It needs execution pin, so let's just put it in here and connect this execution pin to here. No, let's just connect this to here to set this value, okay? No, whenever we are not on the ground, we want to play the jump animation. Let's just compile and save, and now go to our anim graph, right? In anim graph, what we can do in here, we can just go to movement state machine and add the jumping in here. For example, from idle, it want to go to jump. From the walking, it want to go to jump. In both state, it can go to jump. So let's just create that state. For example, add a state and I want to call it jump. Now let's just connect from here to here. And in both these situation, in these states, whenever in our variable we are not on air, so we should get is it on air. If it is on air, it should play the animation for us, play the jump animation, right? Let's just go back, and if we hover over this, it says that when we are on air, it should run the jump state in here. And in walk-in state, again, we can double click in here and again grab this is it on air, get it, and after that connect it to here. So whenever the is it on air is true, this jump will happen. So let's just double click on the jump, and in here find the animation for that. So let's just search for jump, and you can see there is a lot of jump in here. So let's just connect this jump from here to here, and now if we compile and run our game, when we jump, you can see it's jumping again and again and again, and it's not looking good. So what is the problem? The problem is, first of all, this animation is looping. So if we click on the animation and go to details panel, in here the looping animation should be false. So let's just see if it's fix our problem. Let's just play our game and hit the space. No, it's jumping, but it stay at there. Why? Because in our state machine in here, we didn't tell it to go back to idle, for example. So let's just connect these to here, okay? And in here, we want to say if it's not on air. So let's just get it is it on air and not it. So if it's not on air, so this variable should be false. If it's false, go back to idle, right? So in here, I want to say if it's not like this, or just search for not equal. If it's not equal to true, so it means that it is false, connected here. No, with that, if we compile and again run our game, when we jump, you can see it will jump, and when we land, we go to idle animation. And if you walk, go here, and again, you can see everything is working fine. And again, let me explain this node, because I think it can get a little bit confusing. So when we are on the air, we wanna play the jump animation once, okay? And when we land and the is it on air, because we are landing, the is it on air will be false because we are not on air, we are on the ground. So is it on air will be false. So we want to check if this variable is not true. So this means it is not true. If it's not true, go back to idle animation. Okay, so again, if we run our game, when we jump, you can see it played the animation of jump, but it's not looking good, and I will show you how you can fix that. Just notice that you can do all kind of this stuff in a state machine, and in the next video I want to show you a better way of doing this.